Well, chopping and dropping all that pokeweed and wild carrot and fleabane and all those greens was a success, and that mound is doing great over there now. But I want to make the walkways less weedy and also make them pleasant to walk on, even with bare feet, which is something that still isn't that great here because there's still little rocks and things everywhere. So my friend came over with a whole load of sawdust, and I'm going to put that in the rows, and it's also going to absorb lots and lots of water, help retain more water, and it's going to be nice and pillowy to walk on. Of course, it was a very big mound, and my kids had to play in it, so now they're taking showers because they're covered in sawdust. So, fun story there. But I'm going to start taking wheelbarrow loads of this into the garden, and we're going to put it in the rows, and it's going to be awesome. Well, the kids joined me in the sawdust spreading adventure. They got pretty into it after a while. Turns out it's kind of fun to do. Just dump a wheelbarrow load, and then you kick it over or use a rake. Now there's still some weeds poking through here because I was kind of lazy with the weeding beforehand, so I'm gonna have to pull some of these out. But oh man, what an improvement! Mostly because I can walk around barefoot. Oh wow, look at that ant nest. Well, that's kind of exciting. There's weevils in there getting drugged down to their death. It's kind of cool. But yeah, it just makes everything kind of pop. It's like artistic at the same time as being nice to walk on, and it's also going to soak up all sorts of moisture whenever it rains, so it's going to hold on to that moisture longer, and eventually it's going to decompose, and then we'll rake it out of there and throw it onto the mounds. So it's just a win-win. I'm sure you're noticing that I haven't put any of this on the mounds, and I do have a reason for that. The reason being that this sawdust is extremely dry, and unless we were going to have a big rain right away, I wouldn't want to put it on top of the mounds because since it's so dry, it's going to take a while to absorb the moisture, and it might actually have the opposite effect of what I want, and it might actually kind of leach some of the moisture from the ground, up into the sawdust. I did notice last year I put some on a mound in the middle of the summer when it was really dry, and then when it did finally rain, it didn't rain a whole lot, and the water just kind of ran off the mound where the sawdust was, because the sawdust is kind of compacted. So I didn't really like that. Not saying sawdust is bad, it's not, but it kind of like sheets the water away once it gets packed down onto the surface of the dirt. So it's just something to be aware of. I much prefer using mulch like this on my mounds. All different sizes, smaller pieces break down quickly and the bigger pieces take a while. So it's good to have that variety instead of just all the same size. And this is mainly the inner wood of pine trees, so I just don't think it has the mineral content that mixed mulch does. Could be wrong, but those are my observations, and I'm going to stick with that. If you guys have additional information, feel free to comment, fill me in. All right, though, I'm feeling really happy about this, especially the fact that I'm walking in it barefoot, not getting my feet stabbed by all sorts of rocks and thistles and things like that. So this pillowy surface to walk on is pretty amazing. And you know, we did this yesterday, and definitely some trails, various things crawling around. I know we've got all sorts of lizards and ground snakes in here because I've caught them all. I mean, I haven't caught all the lizards and snakes in here, but I've caught several different species, and that makes me happy. I just love having all sorts of life in here, so it's kind of fun seeing the trails. Get a hint of what crawls around in here at night. So one thing that does kind of suck, I've noticed earthworms are crawling into the sawdust and desiccating. So there you go, it's super dry for now. I know that'll change eventually when it rains, but yeah, worms are crawling out of the mounds and drying up. But it's a good sign that I have lots of worms. So mission accomplished with that. All right, well, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.